Today, I'm going to try to create an entire Minetest mod in only 10 hours. So, my idea for this mod is that it'll be called Industrious, and it's going to add lots of industrial themed blocks, new tools, better storage options, and add different metal variations to things like doors, trapdoors, bars, ladders, and more. In this video, I'm going to be referring to the task chart that has 36 tasks that I'm going to try to get done before the 10-hour mark. I've actually done the math. If each one of these tasks takes around 20 minutes, I'm not even going to be able to get all of them done in 10 hours. So anyways, please subscribe and let's get right into it. So the first thing I wanted to start on was the metal variations. I started off with the trapdoors, and I started off with making the texture for the copper trapdoor. Now, something really important about these metal variations that I want to include in this mod Industrious is the fact that their textures won't just be recolors of the steel trapdoors or doors or whatever it is. So I kind of wanted all the different types of metals to be kind of like have a theme to them for the different blocks they're going to have variations of. So for copper, my idea was to make it kind of more oceanic, like lots of pipes is what I was kind of thinking. So it took me a little while to get the lighting right for this trapdoor, but eventually it turned out what I was pretty much thinking. Next up was tin. So specifically for this trapdoor, I kind of want to give it like a vent feel. So I actually took longer than I wanted to make this texture because I was having a hard time getting the lines in without it like messing up how it looked. But in the end, I just settled with adding a handle to it, which it makes sense, it's a trapdoor. Next up was bronze. Now I know I just said that these won't be recolors, but bronze will be a recolor of the steel items. The reason for that is because I think it'd still be cool to kind of have a recognizable feel to some of these blocks, and especially bronze because it's such a contrasting color from steel. So even though its textures will look the same, it's going to add so many possibilities to buildings. After bronze, I finished off with gold. Now gold has the most abstract design compared to all these other ones, because I wanted it to be more like royal, like luxurious look, instead of the dull colors and industrial feel of the other metals. It turned out looking pretty nice, and I decided to add some blue gems to it because I feel like that was really the finishing touch for gold. After this, I made the textures for the doors, giving them a pretty similar feel to what I gave to the trapdoors, and then just coded like an absolute boss for a while. At this point, I was actually already about an hour in, which was okay. But I tested out, and the doors and trapdoors were looking great. I thought the textures actually turned out pretty good. They fitted in pretty well with the default ones. If I had more time, I think I would make a few improvements to textures, but for now, they would do. I then went to the task chart and marked off that I had done the trapdoors and doors. Now, I loved making the metal variations, but I didn't want things to be repetitive, so I decided to move on to a new task. And that was one of the other most important things: concrete. So one of the great things about concrete is that it'll be a great building option that is actually stronger than stone. And you can craft concrete powder from sand and gravel, and then from there, that powder, if you mix it with water, you can turn it into concrete. So first off, I went and looked at some pictures online so I could see how I wanted to make the concrete texture. After a little while, I got it to where I liked it. But now the hard part was making the powder texture. I really didn't know what direction to go with it. I ended up just opening up GIMP and just adding some noise effects to it, which actually didn't look too bad. I then implemented these two nodes to the game and their crafting. I then marked the concrete as complete and then moved on to making some more concrete related blocks. I started off with concrete with caution tape, which took me a little while to texture, but turned out looking pretty great. I also added a concrete slab, concrete bricks, which basically look like the clay bricks, but just gray. And then I also added concrete blocks, which is like cinder blocks in real life. And with concrete blocks, you can make concrete block walls. I think this concrete will add some pretty cool new decoration options, while also being a pretty efficient block to craft because you can use so much leftover gravel and sand for it. I think people will also appreciate the different options that you can craft from concrete because these actually look like really nice building blocks. But the sad part is I was already about 2.5 hours in. Yeah, that's a lot. But I was able to mark off all the concrete as done. So we actually completed 5 tasks out of 36. But I am going to have to put a lot more effort and speed into these next tasks. The next section of tasks I wanted to knock out was a very small one with only 3 tasks in it. This was the quality of life changes. These changes would include making desert sand craftable if you mix sand and clay together, also making obsidian actually blast proof, and my favorite one, making it so TNT sticks could be thrown and be mini throwable explosives. I thought this would be a really cool idea because it'd be very useful for PvP. So I went to coding and got the obsidian and desert sand done in like 3 minutes. I actually lost some footage here sadly, but pretty much it was me wasting about 15 to 20 minutes working on the throwable TNT sticks, which sadly did not work out. I could just not get these TNT sticks to work. So I went to task chart and marked off the obsidian and desert sand as done, but sadly did not mark off the throwable TNT sticks. So at this time, we're about a quarter way through the 10 hours. So I decided on working on more metal variations because I knew that's something I could get done pretty efficiently and enjoy. So I started off with the ladders and they all turned out pretty great. It was pretty fun actually changing up their shapes a little bit so they had that different feel I was going for. So I worked on the bars next, which were pretty easy and all turned out very nice. So here's a quick showcase of all the metal variations done so far. After this, the next thing I worked on was upgrading mining a little bit, like adding raw ore block variations for all the different types of metals. You can either craft these out of raw ore lumps, or you can actually find these really rarely if you're deep underground. Upon completion of finishing this, I was getting pretty near to the halfway point, which honestly is kind of scary. And the next big thing I want to work on was sledgehammers. So basically sledgehammers, you could literally use them to smash blocks into smaller sediments. For example, you could crush stone into cobblestone, and then from there, crush the cobblestone into gravel, and then the gravel into sand. And there'll be other options too. One of the cool ones I thought to add was to make it so you could crush farmland into clay. So here's a time lapse with boss battle music of me coding and texturing these hammers. So these hammers turned out really awesome. So I marked these sledgehammers as done and moved on to the next task. I wanted to finish the update mining section, so I first needed to add coal, gold, into desert stone, add also desert gravel and mineral rich gravel. So I got all 3 of these tasks done at about 6.5 hours into the video. I know, we're already past halfway, it's crazy. So now in deserts you can find desert gravel. You can also find plenty of gold and coal that spawns in this desert stone. Not only that, you can actually find rare small clumps of raw iron block. So now no longer is the desert a bad place to mine, it's actually a pretty good option. I also added mineral rich gravel, which basically is a rare type of gravel, and when you break it, it has a chance of dropping ores like iron, tin, copper, gold, flint, or sometimes it just drops gravel. So at least there's one type of good gravel in this world. So guys, actually at this point, I made the metal container variations. I'm super excited. These look really, really awesome. So after finishing these, that means we got all the metal variations done. And so for the next few minutes, I added something else that Minetest really needs. And this was ice bricks and block. These actually look so satisfying. I can totally imagine people building some really cool igloos out of these. But on completion of these tasks, we were at, drumroll please, over 7 hours. And we were 17 out of 37 tasks done. Don't worry, I won't cry. But that's actually not very good. We are 3/4 of the way through this video, and we're not even halfway of the task. So, the next task I want to work on was adding a new tool to the game called spades. Spades would basically be like small shovels, so they dig crumbly blocks just a little bit slower. But here's the catch. They would dig plant-like items almost instantly. But here's the thing. I was already past 7.5 hours into this challenge and hadn't even gotten half the task done. So I needed to come up with a way to be able to get all this stuff done in the very short amount of time I had left. So I got a crazy idea. What if I used ChatGPT to write the code for the spades? I know that sounds crazy, but if it goes right, I might be able to use ChatGPT to finish off the rest of these tasks, being able to get all 37 tasks done. Guys, this would be really awesome if I could do this, but it was gonna have to take a huge step of faith. So I did it. So I start off with just explaining the situation, saying that I was making a Minetest mod, and I wanted a new tool that'd be a little bit slower than a shovel, but would be able to instant dig plant. So right away, ChatGPT sent me a huge string of code that basically was kind of like an API, where you just put in what material you want to register, and it just register it for you. Now I looked at this code. What this AI tried to do was try to make it so when you'd right click with the tool, it'd instant dig the plant. I mean, my thought process would just be dig them really fast. I'm like, hey, that might work. Well, it didn't work. And I continually tried to get ChatGPT to fix its code, and all its attempts did not work. Bro, I literally wasted 30 minutes trying to get ChatGPT to work. Instead of this helping, it ended up just losing a ton of time. I mean, it is a cool idea to use AI to code. Maybe it'd be something we could do as a video in the future. But at this point, I was pretty sad that I lost so much time. So I coded the spades in myself and was able to get them knocked out in just a few minutes. Probably what I should have done at the beginning. And so we got the spades done. After I got the spades done, the next 10 to 15 minutes I spent getting the ice picks done. Ice picks, there's just a bronze and a steel variant, and they just dig ice way faster and snow. And they can still be used as a pickaxe, but their main purpose is just to help you to dig ice. After these got done, I moved on to one of the most undone task sections, and that was miscellaneous nodes. Oh, I got one of the easiest ones knocked out, and this was the encased Misi lamp. And this is basically just getting a Misi lamp and then crafting it with iron bars. It's a little more protected, I guess, and it just looks cool. And then right after that, I got privacy glass done, which is basically a block that allows light to pass through, but you can't really see through it. This took me sadly about 30 minutes. But it was out of the way and there's 2 more tasks done. The last 25 minutes of hour 8, I worked on another miscellaneous node, and that was adding log walls to the game. These are very self-explanatory, they're just the walls, but they look like wood and are made out of wood to kind of give a little bit of a primitive feeling. And also in this time, I added asphalt to the game, which is a great block for building roads. To make it, you just need to burn pine wood into tar and then mix that with gravel and you got asphalt. Maybe in the future, I'd like to make it so when you walk on this block, it makes you move faster, so it at least has something special about it. But for now, it was at least a pretty cool block addition. Guys, it was hour 9. Yes, there's only 1 hour left of this challenge. So far, I really enjoyed it. I was at this point 24 out of 37 tasks. And yes, I did get that messed up from before. It's 37 tasks, not 36. But honestly, even what we got right now, I'm pretty satisfied. This last hour, I wanted to just try to see what I could do to get a few more tasks done. And so I went ahead and worked on adding a pretty important block. And this was diamond plate. So this took me about 15 minutes. And then from there, I moved on to the last block that we would make in this challenge. And that was tin shelving. This took a little bit longer than expected, but basically it makes tin more useful by adding a new storage block that can hold stone type blocks or wood type blocks, anything like that, like building materials. After finishing the tin shelving, I had only 11 minutes remaining. That's still enough time to get one more task done. These last few minutes, I searched websites that had free audio, trying to find some good concrete sounds to get one of the sound tests done, because I hadn't done anything like that yet in this challenge. I found some good sounds, quickly chopped them up, and added their code into the game. But, guys, this concludes making a Minetest mod in 10 hours. So right now, I'm going to show you the very last showcase of this mod. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. You can check this mod out for yourself. The link will be down in the pinned comment. I hope you guys enjoyed this video a ton and just had an enjoyable time watching the process of how a mod is made in Minetest. If you're new to modding in Minetest, I hope this video has helped you out. Maybe you've been able to pick up some good techniques in mod making. There are so many good mods out there, so make sure to check out one of our mod showcase videos. Anyways, God bless you guys. Have a great day.